Hi everyone! This week we're creating crepe paper clovers. To get started, I use this jar to act as a container for the clovers to grow out of. I got this at Hobby Lobby. Next, I took some metallic gold paint and I painted the inside of the jar. I did a couple coats to make it as opaque as possible, and it helps if you dab the paint rather than drag it along the surface of the glass. So once I did a couple coats and it dried, it looked like this. Next, you'll need a block of floral foam. You'll need to cut this down to the right size to fit in the jar, so I just kind of marked off with a pen where I needed to cut off. And I cut off that area on the right side here. And I just used a kitchen knife to cut it outside so it didn't make a big mess. So once you've done that, go ahead and put it in the jar. Make sure it fits, and if you have any of this dust, just use a vacuum to clean that up. So at this point it looks like this. Next, I'm going to be taking some of this black Spanish moss that I got from Joann's, and I'll be covering the top of this to hide the foam and make it look like dirt for the clovers to grow out of. So I'm just trying to take the Spanish moss in chunks and add it to the top. And first I decided where I wanted to place it. Then I took it back out and used some hot glue to attach it better to the foam. And then press that in place, careful not to burn yourself. So I just kept adding more of this moss until I liked how it looked and the foam was not visible at all. So finally it looked like this, and we're ready to add the clovers. So I'm just taking a piece of plain printer paper. This will be to create the pattern for the leaves. So just fold a section of it. It doesn't need to be very wide. Then take a pencil and sketch out half of the leaf shape plus a rectangle at the bottom. So I just did kind of half of a heart and then adding that longer area at the bottom. So I cut that out. When you open it up, it looks like this. Feel free to make yours a little bit different if you'd like. So I'm going to fold that back up, and that's how we'll be using it. So I'm using this green crepe paper that I got from papermart.com, and I have the crepes going vertically in it. So I'm going to take this pattern and place it diagonally on the paper, and this will make it so the lines in the crepe paper are going diagonally, so it's more like veins on a leaf. Then I'll just take that and trace around it. Make sure to mark it really well so you can see it when you're cutting. So you can just cut this one out, or you can choose to fold the paper a couple times so you can cut multiple at once. So I find it's easiest if I kind of roughly cut this out first and then come back and cut right around where I marked. So once you've finished cutting them out, you'll be left with these pieces. If you have any edges you need to fix, go ahead and do that now. So to create each of the leaves, we'll be taking two of these pieces, putting them together like this, so they're mirror image of each other. So I'm just going to put a little line of hot glue along that edge, and then carefully line those up and press them together. If you want, you can kind of fold it in half to emphasize the crease down the center, and it looks like this. So you'll need to make 3 of those. Next, I'm taking some 18 gauge floral wire, and we'll be attaching those leaves to this to create the clovers. So I'm just going to take one of these, and you'll want to kind of fold it backwards, and then it will attach to the wire here on that long part on the bottom. So just decide how you want to position it. Then put some hot glue on this long area, and then press the wire into it and squeeze the two sides together while bending backwards on the leaf. So it looks like this. So once you're happy with how it looks, we can move on to adding the next leaf. It's a good idea to take all 3 and position them so you know how far apart to space them. So I'll take those back off, and then we'll just take one of those, add some glue here on that bottom part, and add it right here. Kind of squeeze those two sides together while bending the leaf backwards. So now we'll add the third leaf right here. So same thing, just add some glue on that lower part and press it against the wire, squeezing those two sides together and bending the leaf back. So now the clover is assembled and it looks like this. Now we'll just be adding some floral tape to finish off the stem. So this tape works best if you stretch it as you work. I like to add a little dot of hot glue at the top just to make sure it stays in place. So I'll kind of stretch that and then press it into the glue and start wrapping it around, pulling it tightly and stretching it as you go. So just keep wrapping for a little ways down the stem. So when you get to where you want to stop, you can either stretch it to attach it to itself or just add a little dot of glue to help hold it in place and then cut the tape. So at this point it looks like this. So now I'm just going to take some wire cutters and just cut the wire right here. Doesn't need to be exactly the same, I just like to have a good length to stick into the foam. And that's it for the clover, so you can just go ahead and put that in the jar, sticking it into the foam as far as you'd like. So now I'm just going to repeat that process to create a couple more of these and add them into the jar as well. And you can also use this method to create 4-leaf clovers like this. Use the same pattern for the leaves, you just need to space them a little closer together. So I ended up with 2 3-leaf clovers and 1 4-leaf clover in the jar, and it looked like this. So finally I'm just going to add one more thing, some ribbon around the jar. So I'm taking this green sparkly ribbon I got at Hobby Lobby and just taking a long length of it that I can tie in a bow. And I'll just be tying that around the top of the jar. And that's it! I hope you enjoyed this crepe paper clover tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. I've done quite a few crepe paper projects. I will link those on screen so you can watch them if you're interested. If you'd like to see future videos, please subscribe. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day.